Hello, welcome to our first tutorial on referencing. We want to understand how to carry out our basic referencing in our research, how to reference an article, how to cite it very well. Realize that most of you are not doing the right thing. So this is just a step-by-step video tutorial to help you to understand referencing and how you're going to reference your work. We are not going to look at it in deep or deeper, just a shallow one to help you to understand referencing. Okay, right. Now this is what you are going to look at. The first question you must ask yourself is, where do you get articles for your work? Where do you have to get articles for your work? So when you go online, you have so many research done by a lot of people, scholars, and they publish it and it becomes an article. Okay. And you can get some at where you call an online site like Science Direct, Emerald, or Google Scholar. Okay, right. So these are the place that when you just pick the URL or the link and just search on it, to give an interface where you can get some of your articles that you can read and cite for your research work. Good. But for this tutorial, let's look at one of the basic components mostly we normally use. That is the Google Scholar. So I'll show you how to search articles from Google Scholar and how you have to identify the authors in the article volumes, the year of publication, and other things that I think it will help you in your research. Okay, good. Now, what is referencing? When you say reference, it's just trying to acknowledge your source of information. Anytime you pick something from somebody's work, you have to acknowledge the person, or you have to just thanking the person because he has put some content there for you to just pick it, and you're trying to, that content might be relevant for you, or it is relevant for you that you can use in your work. So anytime you pick somebody's article or somebody's content, you have to reference the person or acknowledge the person, tell the person that indeed your work is good and I've taken some part of the content from my work. That's all about referencing. Okay, now there are different types of referencing that we normally use, or style of how to reference a particular article in our research work. Good. Now on the screen we have just only 4, but there are many. We have what they call the APA, which stands for American Psychological Association. We have what they call the MLA, that is Modern Language Association. Then we have what they call the Harvard and the Chicago style of referencing. There are a lot of referencing style, but these are the basic one that we normally use. But for your research work, you're going to use the APA, that is American Psychological Association, for your research work. Hope it's clear. Good. So now let's see what goes in this APA style of referencing. Okay. Good. Now you want to learn how to reference an article. That is, if you get an article and the author is one, or the article is written by only one person, and also how to reference an article when the author or the authors are 2, and when they are more than 2, you have a style of referencing it. Then after your whole work, after citing the source of your referencing, at the end of the work, you have to bring what they call the bibliography or reference list. All the reference you cited in your work, you have to just now write it in full at the back of your work. So for every article that you use in your work, you have to bring the full reference list at the back of your work. Hope it's clear. Good. So now let's see how to get an article online and also how to reference an article. So what you can do is just first go Google and go to Google Scholar. So when you go to Google Scholar, you're going to see this on your screen. So you see Google Scholar. Then inside the field where you have the search field over here, it asks you what do you want to search. So this is where you type your topic that you want to search for your work. You might type the whole title of your work, the title of your work over here, or type some phrases in your work that will give you similar papers that have done, or similar authors that have done your similar work that you want to do. So you can get articles from that works, and you can use it for your work. That's how it's going to be. So for instance, I want to do something on e-learning among university lecturers, or e-learning among students. What I have to do is that that is my title. So I have to type it at the search button here, okay, to search some of the articles that are similar to my work, so that I can use it also for my work. Okay, right. So I type it over here, Determinant of e-learning among university students. So when I finish, I just click on a search to see if I can get similar articles of this title. Then when I search it, this is what I'll get. I'll get a lot of them, plenty, a lot of them. Okay, so I'll check the one that is similar to my own, then maybe download. Looking at this one, you realize that there's one over here that is similar to my own, Determinant of e-learning system adoption among Ghanaian university students. So once I get this, okay, I have to open the article and see what I can get content for my work. So just click on it. The same time when you click on it, you see your download button popping up, or your browser can download it automatically, or at times it will send it to a different site for you to go and download there. Sometimes with some of the papers you can download, so you keep on trying to get the one that you can download for your work. Okay, so once I click on download, I will see this on my screen. Download. Now download the article. Now open it and read and see whether it has some substance that can help me in my work. Okay, good. So when you open the article for the first time, what do you see? Okay, there are some things that you have to identify in the articles. Okay, that is the article title, that is the paper you download from the online. You have to identify the title, whether it has a title, whether you can see the author's name, whether you have the journal, where it was published. It's normally called journal. Now all articles are published at a specific place, and where it is being published is called journal. Okay, and I'll explain further for that. Then in the year the article was published, the issue and the volume number and the page number of the article. So these are the things that you have to identify for every article. Sometimes you can get an article without a name. When it happens that way, there's no need for you to use the article because you cannot reference such an article. Okay, right. So now let's continue. So this is an example of journals where articles can be published, or places that people publish their articles. They are called journals. Okay, so anytime when you get an article, you see where the article is being published at the top of the article. That is called the journals. Okay, so let's continue. So these are typical articles that we have here, and you see the title of the article is Determinant of e-learning system adoption among Ghanaian university lecturers. Okay, an application of information system and technological acceptance model. So this is the title of the article. Then at the right side here, you see American Journal of Social Science and Humanities. This is where the article is being published. You have it here. Then you have what you call the article volume. You see volume 5, the volume number, the issue of the article. So you have issue number, then the page number of the article. Okay, the page number, that is the page that this article was published to. Then you have the year that article was published. You can see the year here. Okay, then you have the names of the publishers, those who wrote the articles. Okay, some articles they ask you to include the author's picture, like this one, but some doesn't include author's picture. Okay, these are the things that you're going to use for your reference. So when you get an article, make sure you identify all these things on the article, and it tells you that the article is very good for you to use for the reference. Hope it's clear. Right, now let's continue. Now assuming that I open the article and I got some content inside which is very good and I want to add it to my work. Okay, so let's see how to reference a single author article. That is when only one particular person wrote the article. Okay, how do you reference the person? Good. Now, so this is the article I copied. So I written copy. I mean that I copied the articles, the content from the article that I think is very, very relevant in my work. Good. Now, when I copy the article, you're not supposed to just paste the article in your work like that. No, we don't do that in a research work. Okay, when you get a content from somebody's paper, what you do is that you have to paraphrase, that is, rewrite it in your own way, but not to copy the whole thing. So if you look at this article that I've copied from one author called maybe Opoku, okay, that assuming that the author of the article is only one, is Opoku. Okay, now look at the main thing that I copied. The rapid growth of the internet and advances in information technology has caused the enormous implementation of online learning system in most organizations. That is what I copied. I have to paraphrase this article so that I can use it for my own. I don't need to copy the same thing. And when I paraphrase the article, I have to cite the source, even though I have changed the content, but I still have to reference it because I didn't write it with my own knowledge. I had the knowledge from somebody's work. Okay, so this is what I've written. That is mine. Based on this, I've changed it, reword it, or paraphrase it. So I would say the spread of the internet and the change in information and communication technology has enabled most organizations to adopt and use online learning system. Then I reference where I picked the article from. So I picked this article from my article, this content from Opoku's article. So I have to put Opoku name here. So Opoku 2020. So that's how I reference the article. So I picked an article, content from article. I rewrite it on my own way, which will make the same thing. I just reference it. If you just copy the article like this and paste and reference it, it is wrong. It is called plagiarism. Plagiarism means that you are trying to copy somebody's content. Even though you reference a person, that content doesn't belong to you. So you have to always paraphrase the articles, the reference. When you copy something, try to rewrite it in a nice way, then paste it in your work. You have to cite the person, reference the person. Hope it's clear. Good. So that's how we copy content and paraphrase and source it or give it a reference. Now, assuming that, let's look at how to reference a particular article using only one author when an article is being written by only one person. Okay. So, 1. Now, this is how to reference these articles. The spread of internet and changes information technology has enabled most organizations to adopt and use e-learning. When I finish like this, I'll bring the reference Opoku 2010. That is, it means that I pick this content or I paraphrase this content in Opoku's work, Opoku's 2010, or I rewrite this content in from Opoku's work. So you have to now cite Opoku 2010. Then you bring your full stop here. There must be a full stop here to close the statement. Is that okay? Good. Or in another way, you can write in this way. In a study of Opoku 2010, he indicated that the spread of internet and changes information and communication technology has enabled most organizations to adopt and use online learning system. So you see the same way, but it depends on how you are going to write a reference or how you're going to start the whole wording. Okay, you can choose to write a statement and bring it the reference or the source, the same as the source or citation in the end here. Or what you can do is that you just have to bring the reference at the beginning of the work as is here. Hope it's clear. So this is just for a single author citation. Okay, now what about if the authors are two? Let's see how to do it. Good. So the spread of internet and changes in information and communication technology has enabled most organizations to adopt and use online learning system. So it is written by two authors. So you have Opoku and Kisi 2010. Okay, so you realize that there is no full stop here. The full stop must end here. It's a mistake, so please put full stop here, must end here. Okay, then in between the Opoku and Kisi, you have what they call the ampersand sign. Okay, don't use what they call the and sign here. Use the ampersand sign when the reference comes at the end of the statement. Okay, like Opoku and Kisi, use the ampersand sign. And when the reference begin from the statement, like this one, for instance, in a study of Opoku and Kisi, you see they are beginning. In that case, you can use the A and the and. When it's the end, you use the ampersand. And when it's beginning, you use what the and, A and D. So Opoku and Kisi. Okay, in a study of Opoku and Kisi, then comma, he indicated that the spread of, but it's not he, it's they, because they are two. So correct this, is they indicated that, not he indicated that. Okay, right. So that's when you have two authors. Okay, in the end, you use the ampersand. In the beginning, they are beginning, you use what the and. And when they are beginning to, the names come out and the bracket, the year follows. So look at Opoku and Kisi into bracket 2020. This one, they're all in bracket. So Opoku and Kisi, comma 2020. That's how to reference when you have the reference or when you're placing the reference at the end of the statement. And when you have the reference at the beginning of the statement, this is how you do it. Hope it's clear. Right, now let's see what if we have three authors. Okay, so it is the same thing. The spread of internet and changes in information and communication technology has enabled most organizations to adopt and use online learning systems. So you see Opoku, Kama, Kisi, and Ochre 2020. So you still use the ampersand symbol because it is the reference is at the end of the statement. Then when they are beginning in the study of Opoku, Kama, Kisi, and Ochre into bracket 2020, Kama, he or they indicated that. So this is how we have to do it. Here is they, not he, because they are three. Okay, if it's only one, it is he. Okay, right. So this is how to cite when you have three authors. Okay, now with these three authors, you have a different way of citing it. At times when the authors are many, maybe 3, 4, or 5 or 6, you can't write all the names there. So you introduce a new function called etal. Etal, E-T space or. A means and or and or. So Opoku and others, because the references are many and you cannot write all of them. So you write Opoku and others. It means Opoku and or Opoku etal, Opoku and others. It means which includes that you have Kisi and Ochre inside. Okay, so when you have at the end of the statement, you write Opoku, Opoku, there's a space here, A is a space here, AL, then there's a dot before the comma. The dot means that here it is continue, you have more authors, but we cannot write all of them here, so you want to shorten it. So it's AL dot comma 2020. That's what they call Opoku etal. Hope it's clear. It means that Opoku and all. Is that okay? Because you cannot write all the authors there. Okay, but if you want to use a tab, you first have to write the authors all in a first statement, and then in subsequent statement you can use etal. For instance, I pick the article for the first time, and when I'm referencing it, let me write all the full names. Then when I'm going to use the same people again, this time I have to use etal because I'm repeating them. So when I write etal, the reader will know that, oh, there are many. Is that okay? I'm saying that for the first time, write it in full, and subsequent times, if you want to use the same authors again, now you make it etal. So this is how you say you do it in the beginning. So in a study of Opoku, AL dot is here, then bracket 2020, comma, then you continue with the statement. That is when we have what we call three authors. Hope is clear. Right. Also, now let's look at some of the bad things or bad reference that we normally do. Okay, and take notes so that you can make corrections to your work. Okay, now the spread of internet and changes in information and communication technology has enabled most organizations to adopt and use online system. When I put a full stop here and I bring a reference here, that it will not make sense. But as soon as I put a full stop here, it means that this statement is ended, and whatever I start here is just a beginning of a new statement. So when you bring a full stop here, then you bring the reference here, it is wrong. We don't do that way. So please take note. You have to remove the full stop here, then you bring the reference. So don't put full stop here. The full stop must come at the end of the reference, somewhere here, at the end of the reference here. Hope is clear. Also, when you come here, Opoku etal dot 2020, and I put a full stop here, it means that I've ended the statement over here, so you can't continue. Anytime I put a full stop, the statement ends there, and it means that you're going to begin a new statement. So don't put a full stop here and continue the statement. It's very wrong. Okay, you have to identify where you put the full stop in your work. So this is wrong. This one must come here, and this one must be removed from here because it ends this statement. That is the wrong thing that we have been doing in most of our works. Okay, now another thing is that also another bad or wrong reference that you normally write is this: according to into brackets indicated that the spread of internet and challenges. Here the writer is trying to say that according to Opoku. So don't imprison Opoku in a bracket, if you say according to, and you assume that it is Opoku 2020, it is wrong. It is like you are at the back of a door and you are trying to ask somebody inside in a room, inside a room, a question. Then assume that whatever you say, the person should hear. It is very wrong. So don't do this. According to Opoku, don't put the Opoku in brackets because you are referring to Opoku. Another way, this is the correct way to write it. So according to Opoku, then you bring your year in bracket 2020 because now you are referring to Opoku outside. You are talking to Opoku outside. Then you are trying to make some references on what Opoku said. So according to Opoku, or Opoku indicated that, then you continue the statement. Then the statement is wrong, so try and correct it. According to Opoku, comma, he indicated that the spread of the need to continue that way. Hope is clear. So know where you bring your reference here. It's not according to Opoku. This one is wrong. You have imprisoned Opoku. It means that whatever you say here has nothing to do with Opoku. But you have to bring the Opoku, the name out, and bring the bracket somewhere. So now you are referring to Opoku, and Opoku wrote the article in 2020. That is the correct way to cite a reference. Also, another wrong thing that we have been doing is this: never include the author's first name in your reference. You normally use only the surnames. So if you include the first name, it is wrong. So Opoku D stand for Daniel dot is very wrong. We don't do that. You normally use what? The author's surname alone. So this is correct. NC Opoku, 2020. Hope is clear. So these are some of the mistakes that you normally do in our referencing, and I believe that with this video you can correct them or make changes to your referencing. Okay, right. Now, when you finish your in-text citation or in-text referencing, okay, you have to now what? Bring all the reference that you cited inside the work at the back of the paper, or at the back at the end of your work. That's what you call the reference list or reference or bibliography. Okay, you have a style of what? Writing it. We are using what you call the APA style of referencing. Okay, and the APA style of referencing, what you normally have is that you have the author's name, the year, the article title, the journal, that's where it's being published. So it's journal of something, American Journal of something, and other things. You have the volume as it's here, the issue number, and the page number. So with this you can now reference your work. Okay, now some other journals are what they call DOI. Okay, some identification number that can also help you to identify your paper. Okay, try and get the full meaning of DOI. It's the first assignment. Okay, right. So some authors also add a DOI for the research articles. Okay, so let's continue. So in the end, this is how you're going to cite your work. So you see Opoku, if it's only one of the Opoku, and the title of the article is Determinant of E-Learning System Adoption Among Ghanaian University, application of this and this and that. Okay, then where was it published? Full stop. American Journal of Social Science and Humanities. This journal must be in italic or slanted. Then you have the 5 here is what? The volume number, volume 5. Then into brackets you put your issue. Issue is issue 1. Then the page of what? The article. So all article has pages. So if you go back, you see over here what I downloaded previously. We're going back to check the article. Yes, with this. This is the article name, the journal name as it's written here, the volume is volume 5, the number is 1, and the reference is from page 151 to 168, and the year is what? 2020. So this is what you normally see in most articles journal referencing. You see this number, this is how it means over here. Okay, so when you get an article, try and get all those things to you to reference your work. So when you go back again, the end of your work, or this presentation, you realize that this is the article. You have the journal name, where it was published, American Journal of Social Science. The volume number is 5, issue is in bracket 1, and the page number is 151 to 168. Hope is clear. So this is just the first basic presentation on how to do your referencing. Okay, I'll keep on giving you more tutorials to understand your work. So at the end of the day, you try and learn something from your work. Don't just do copy and paste. Pay attention, do a very diligent good work, then you get a good marks. So do your best to help yourself so that you can do a very good project work. Thank you and have a lovely day.